Okay, so we talked about medium. Now, we want to talk about message. And then we're going to talk about effect. So, again, I just want to boil down message. I mean, what are the physical components of the kind of messages that we are sending one another? They're sounds and pictures, mostly, aren't they? Via mass communication or whatever kind of communication we're doing. But in terms of media communication, sounds are things like spoken words. Music is a very interesting kind of communication, isn't it? What does it operate on? What does it say? I mean, or communicate. Very interesting form of communication. Sounds that things make. Bang, bang, bang. Knock on the door. Clap my hands. Okay, and then images. I've got text. I've got sign language. Is done without sounds, but it conveys, it communicates. It's a message. A very interesting kind of message. I don't know that much about it, but in watching it, I sometimes think that words are acted out in a way in American Sign Language. Pictures, static pictures and photos, drawings. Then we've got moving images, which can be just animation, it can be video. These are some of the images that are used. Text. Text is an image, and it's the letters that make up words, and the words are symbols for things, and those symbols and images are created in our minds as we read the text. Subtext. Well, that's an interesting part of communication. Subtext. Look up the definition for subtext. Just stop the lecture for a minute and look it up. And then do the same for context. Context. Because messages almost always have, I think, a subtext and a context. This starts to get into the subliminal communication, the under-the-radar communication that's just sort of there. It's coded, it's part of the coding. And if we're in the culture, if we understand the culture of the sender, we can pick up the subtext. In other words, what's really being said here that's underneath the words, based on how the words are used or positioned, or if they're spoken, what's the tone of voice of the speaker. That could give subtext. Context is somehow the situation of everything. It's where everything fits into the overall picture. There's overt communication and subliminal. I would say, and we're just talking about components of the message now, but there's also emotional communication and rational communication, which is related to some degree to overt and subliminal. The sender has a point of view, by the way, and this is the source, the sender, can have, often does, mostly has a point of view. This is an important thing for media literacy. It's important for us to understand what is the point of view of the source. This will help us decide whether or not we believe the message. Right? So, just breaking it down between sounds and images, just sounds and images, what do you think is more effective at communicating a message, sounds or images? hint. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Messages. So the message, the medium is the message. Marshall McLuhan said, a communications philosopher and professor. That's a little ahead of us. We can talk about that later on in the class. Basically says it's more important to study each medium and what it does and how it's different from others than it is to what can be touted at each message. I'm not sure that's really right anymore. So the message that's in the media these messages tend to be in two camps. One is entertainment sort of content, entertainment messaging. You guys know what this is? It's a Broadway cast of Wicked. That's entertainment. That's entertainment. Another type of message is just information, news. Okay, people go to media sources to have news pushed at them or to find news or information about different things. So entertainment and information. Of course, these days, disinformation and misinformation are also part of the picture, are they not? In terms of messaging, in terms of information messaging and news messaging, I do want to take a moment to talk about journalism. In journalism, here's a definition of it. Reports on current events based on facts and supported with proof or evidence. Occupation as well as collaborative media who gather and publish information based on facts and supported with proof or evidence. As we improve our media literacy skills, we need to understand the difference between journalism, real journalism, and not so real journalism. Facts, evidence, citing our sources, giving the names of the people we spoke to, important to credibility. Okay, now the last part of our media diagram here is what effect does the message have on the receiver? So, let's go back. Messages appeal to our logic and our rational brain, which I think is that our left brain or our right brain? You guys tell me, I don't remember. Also, messages appeal to our emotions. Mind, heart, left brain, right brain, rational, emotional. And then based on lots of things. The effect can change. It can be a change of mind. We've learned something, new about something. We have formed new opinions. What is the effect of communication, mass communication? It can get us to go out and do something. It can get us to buy something. There's an ad embedded in it. It can get us to go to a protest march. It can get us to cook a recipe that we see. Just think about all the effects, all the things. Once I've taught you something, given you information, new information, once I've done something to appeal to your emotions, stir the pot, as it were. There are all kinds of things that you can do, things that you might do, will do, the effect. So this is what we have done today. We've done a chunk, kind of the first half of the first chapter. And the first chapter of the book really sets out the principles of this course. And we talked about what is communication, right? It's a sender and a receiver. It's sending a message via media that produces an effect. We talked about mass being lots and lots and lots of people. Mass communication is communication that reaches a lot of people. And then we dug more into this idea of communication. We talked about source and receiver. You can't have one without the other. The medium, which is in between two things. The message, which is visual. It sounds. It has a subtext, has a context, it's coded, and the receiver understands the code, and it can have all kinds of effects. Now, this is an exercise I want you to do now in the class. We're just about at the end of this first long lecture. So here's the assignment. You can just read it for yourself. And I think I want you to do this on Padlet. So I'll open that up. And but I also want you, basically how it'll work is you're going to answer these questions as part of this lecture. Okay. I want you to take a screenshot of your answers so that you could paste the screenshot on the Padlet. And we can use it and we can look at each other's work and sort of learn from one another. Okay? So, take a shot at this, please. Okay. So we finished our overview. Here are the things I want you to do before next Friday. And by next Friday, I mean... Oh, let me look at my calendar. Hang on a second, guys. Okay. So this class is due by September 3rd. That's the Friday. So everything in the week 1 folder is due at the latest by Friday the 10th. Okay. All right. I want you to read the rest of the first. Submit 3 things you learned. You're actually going to do that now. Just write down 3 things you learned, and if you found anything muddy or confusing, write that down. And I will look at those and respond. I want you to do it here in the class, but I also want you to be able to submit it on Blackboard, because in the week 1 folder you'll find the opportunity for you to submit that there on Blackboard. And on Blackboard I can respond to you. So, and let me just say right now, in case you haven't noticed, I'm trying some new things here with you guys, because I want this to be a better online class where there's real interaction, where there's real, source and receiver back and forth, right? To go back to the theme of our class. I'm using Padlet for the first time. I'm using this other thing, Posit, for the first time. It'll just get better, so just be patient with me. Give me your feedback on what's working and what isn't. There's the reading. This is the discussion I want you to do. Okay. I want you to comment on your teammates' posts. Now, this is important. I'm kind of pulling together how to analyze a piece of mass communication. I take a minute, make a screenshot of this. Smamberger, that's how to remember it.